Selenium, the most commonly used automation testing tool, is a boon to the software industry. Advancement in this field has made our lives very easy. So hi guys, this is Vaishnavi from Edureka, and in this session let's try to understand what is Selenium and how to implement a Selenium Maven project. So before proceeding further, let's take a look at the agenda of this module. We'll start the discussion by understanding what is Selenium and what are its major features and try to implement a use case of the same. And then we'll talk about the automation build tool Maven and know its features. Once we understand what is Maven, let's integrate the Maven dependencies onto a Selenium project and also look into what exactly happens in a Selenium Maven project and discuss their advantages. And finally, we'll end this session by implementing a real-time use case of Selenium Maven. So without any further ado, let's get straight to the module. Let's start the session by understanding the first topic, what is Selenium and what are its features. Selenium, as you all know, is an automation tool used to test web applications. The major features of Selenium includes Selenium is open source. There is no licensing cost involved, which is a major advantage over other testing tools. And the other major features behind Selenium's ever-growing popularity are test scripts can be written in any programming language like Java, Python, C#, and so on. And the tests can be carried out on any platforms like Windows, Mac, Linux, and so on. And it can also be run across different browser platforms like Firefox, Explorer, Chrome, and so on. Selenium can be integrated with the tools such as TestNG and JUnit for managing the test cases and generating reports. But there surely has to be shortcomings, right? We can use Selenium only to test web applications. We cannot test desktop applications or any other software. Selenium does not have any native reporting facility, but we can overcome this issue by integrating it with the frameworks like TestNG or JUnit. Okay, so this is about Selenium and its features, guys. Now let's take a look at the use case of Selenium, or let's take a look at how to implement a Selenium project. So these are the basic prerequisites that are required to run the test scripts. That is the latest version of Java being installed in your system, the latest Eclipse IDE being installed, and some Selenium plugins like the Selenium Standalone Server and the Selenium IDE, which are used according to any programming language. So let's take a look at the implementation process. In this session, we'll be automating a web application called Amazon. And I think all of you are very familiar with this online application. So we'll automate this web application using Selenium. Interested to know how? Let's take a look, guys. So to do that, you need to have the latest Java installed in your system and latest Eclipse IDE. So I have both these tools installed in the system. So let's check if it's working properly or not. Okay, so I'm going to the command prompt to check the latest version of Java installed in my system. So I'm going to write Java version. So I'm going to use this version of Java, that is Java 1.8 in my session, and the latest Eclipse IDE, that is Photon. Okay, let's open this. As you can see, it asks for the directory workplace. So this is the directory in which my Eclipse folder will be present. So I'm going to just launch this. As you can see, the workbench is loading here. So this is the Eclipse workspace, guys. So these are the projects that I've already created or worked on. Now, in order to write a new test script, we need to create a new Java project. So to do that, let's click on the file, go to new, and you can't find the Java project here. So we'll go to other and type Java here. You can see that the option called Java project exists here. So you need to provide a name to the project. And I'm going to name this as Edureka Selenium. Okay, and click on finish. Click on no. You can see that the folder is being created here by the name of the project that we provided just now. That is Edureka Selenium. So now let's click on the drop down here. You can see the JRE system libraries present here, which is basically the Java libraries that are added to the project. And the source field is where we are going to write our piece of code. Now we need to add the Selenium jar files to this project in order to run the test scripts. So to do that, I'm going to right click on my project, go to build path, and I'm going to configure build path. And you can see that the Java libraries are already present and we need to add the external jar files. That is, we need to download the Selenium jar files and add it here. So to do that, let's search for the Selenium jar files. Okay, and I'm going to search for Selenium jar files. Okay, just click on the first link here. So this page contains all the jar files that we require to import to our project. So first, let's start by downloading the Selenium standalone server. The latest version is available here, so just click on the version and it will download. And we're writing our code in Java, so we require the libraries of the Java here. So I'm going to download this as well. Okay, you can see that these are the jar files available in Selenium Java. Okay, so let's get back to our project. So now let's add the external jars here. Okay, so just select all and click on open. Click on open. So we are done adding the Selenium jar files to the project. So we are going to click on apply and close. You can see that there is another folder by the name referenced libraries created here, which holds all the Selenium libraries here. Now we need to write our piece of code. So to do that, I'm going to create a package first and then write the piece of code. You guys have a doubt on why do we need to create a package? Package basically holds the group of classes. So for that, we require the package first and then we are going to create a class. Okay, so right click on the source file here, go to new and go create package. One thing about the name of the package is it starts from the reverse order. So I'm going to write co.edureka here for the package name and click on finish. You can see that the package is being created here. Now let's write our code. So go to new and click on class. It asks for the class name. So I'm going to provide the name demo class and do select the main function. Okay, and click on finish. All right, so we are done creating the class here. Now let me make this more visible to you guys. Okay, now I think it's clear to you guys. You can see that the package by the name that I provided, co.edureka, is being created here, under which our class demo class resides and our main function also. So we'll start writing our code from here. Okay, so let's take this out. So like I mentioned earlier, we will automate a web application called Amazon in this session. And to do that, we need to select a browser driver. That is a Gecko driver for Firefox, a Chrome driver for Chrome, and so on. Okay, so in this session, we will be working on Chrome. So I will select the Chrome driver and download the executable file. So to do that, let's get back to our Selenium website. So you can find all these browser driver present here. I've already downloaded the Google Chrome driver here. So I'm just going to write a piece of code to instantiate the driver. So let's get back to the project. Now we need to set the system property so that the system knows that we are using Chrome driver. To do that, I'm going to write system.set property, where the first argument holds the name of the WebDriver, that is webdriver.chrome.driver, whereas the second argument holds the path of it. So in my case, it's in C drive. Let's see how you can copy the path. Okay, you can see that I also have Gecko driver here. So I'm going to search for this Chrome driver. Okay, so this is the path for Chrome driver. Let's get back to our project and we'll paste this here. Okay, done. I think you guys have understood how this is done. Now we need to instantiate the WebDriver instance to the Chrome driver. So to do that, I'm going to create an object of the WebDriver and call it a driver and instantiate it with the new Chrome driver. Okay, you can see that there is an error being thrown here. So just click on the WebDriver here. So you'll find the quick fixes here. Just select the first option, that is import WebDriver. What does import mean? We need to import the WebDriver functionalities which are not there in the project. So let's import the WebDriver functionalities. So you can see that there is a command being automatically generated here. Okay, and the same goes with the Chrome driver as well. Import the Chrome driver functionalities to the project. after this, we need to get the URL of the particular page that we are going to search for. So in our case, it is Amazon. So I'm going to consider the object of the WebDriver, that is driver.get. One thing about Eclipse is you don't have to complete the entire code. There are suggestions about the functions present here. So just paste the URL or write it down if you know it. http://amazon.in. Okay, so this is the web page that we're going to search. Now, say if you want the web page to maximize, how would you do that using Selenium? So to do that, I'm going to consider the object of the WebDriver, that is the driver.manage.window and maximize. This command helps in maximizing the web page. Okay, so now let's take a look at the web page once. Okay, now let's search for Amazon.in. Okay, you can see that this is a web page and each element in this web page is called a web element. Okay, so now say for example, if you want to search for this particular search box here, you can inspect or search this using Selenium by right-clicking on it and inspecting the code. Okay, let me tell you one thing about Selenium, guys. Selenium uses certain element locators in order to search for an element. Okay, so they are name, class, ID, class name, and so on. So in this case, you can see that the input type is present and ID is also present, which is an element locator in Selenium. So I'm going to copy this ID and get back to our project and write a piece of code. So I'm going to write the web element and create an object of the web element, say search box, and find the element using the object of the WebDriver dot find element. We are going to find the element by ID. Okay, and now we are going to paste the ID here and semicolon. You can see that it is throwing an error here. So just click on the web element and import the web element functionalities to our project. Now, if you want to search for an element, say if you want to search for earphones in general or anything, you need to send some text to the search box, right? So to do that, I'm going to consider the object of the web element search box dot send keys, which helps in sending the characters, under which I'm going to search for JBL earphones. Okay, so now let's get back to our web page. Now, after you're done searching for the text here, say if you want to click on this particular search box. Okay, so let's inspect this search box here. So you can see the class is present here, which is one of the element locators in Selenium. So I'm going to copy the class and get back to our project. Okay, so I'm going to create another web element by the name search icon and find the element using the element locator, that is by the class. And I'm going to paste the name of the class in this. Okay, and semicolon. Now, if you want to click on the search icon, we are going to consider the object of the web element search icon dot click, which helps in clicking the search icon. Okay, so let's get back to our web page once and let's enter it manually. I'm going to type JBL earphones. Now say if you want to search for this particular checkbox here of both, and I'm going to click on this checkbox here. You can see that there are so many results here. Now say if you want to scroll through this page till the end, how would you do that using Selenium? Let's take a look. Now let's get back to our previous page where we'll inspect the boat checkbox. Right click, inspect it. The name is present here. Okay, so which is a element locator in Selenium. So let's get back to our project by this and write a piece of code. So I'm going to create another web element by the name checkbox, which helps in finding the element by the name. Okay, and paste the name here. And we need to click the checkbox. So I'm going to take the object of the web element checkbox dot click. Done. I think you guys have understood what is happening till now. In order to scroll through a page, we are going to use something called the JavaScript executor, which is an interface that helps in executing the JavaScript through Selenium. So now let's try to take a look at how this can be done. So I'm going to write a piece of command after the maximizing of the screen. Take it as JavaScript executor and create an object of the same JS and braces JavaScript executor and link it to the driver. Done, guys? Okay, now it is throwing an error here. So let's import the JavaScript executor to our project. Done. The error doesn't exist. And after this, we are going to write a command here to scroll. That is the object of the JavaScript executor dot execute script, where we are going to consider only one argument here. That will be window dot scroll by, and specify the axis in which you want to scroll. Say if you want to search for an element on the x-axis. So to do that, we are going to consider the x-plane. And if you want to scroll down to a page, we are going to consider the y-axis. So in my case, I'm going to scroll down to a page. So to do that, the x-axis will be 0 and the y-axis, I'm going to take it as 4000. Okay. And I'm going to delete this second argument. Done. After this is done, let's quit the driver execution or end the driver execution. So to do that, I'm going to write the quit command here, driver.quit, which helps in quitting the driver execution. Let's save this program. Now let's run this program. Just click on run. So you can see there is an exception here, which says in the main function, the executable directory is wrong. I think we provided the proper path to the Chrome driver. Guys, you need to add the extension of the Chrome driver to this. This is the folder which has the Chrome driver followed by the Chrome driver extension, that is Chrome driver.exe. That is the executable file. So without this, the Chrome driver wouldn't run. Let's save this and run the program. Chrome driver is starting. You can see that the Chrome is being initialized. The links to the web page, Amazon, maximizes the screen, searches for JBL earphones, and that was pretty quick. Let's figure out why that is. As you could see, there was no pause in execution during clicking of the checkbox and scrolling down a page. So we are going to pause the execution for a maximum of 3 to 4 seconds in order to see what the execution process is. So to do that, I'm going to use the thread.sleep command, which helps in pausing the execution for a few seconds. So this is always in milliseconds, so I'm going to consider it as 4 seconds. You can see that the error exists here. So just click on this and it provides us with two fixes: add throws declaration or surround it with try catch. But we are going to handle the exception by throwing declaration. That is, it avoids the interrupted execution during the process. One after the scrolling of the page, thread.sleep command, and even this will be for 4 seconds. Alright, now let's try to execute this program. Save the program and click on run. Chrome driver is starting, loads Amazon web page, maximizes the screen, searches for JBL earphones, searches for the checkbox, and scrolls down to a page and quits the web browser. So this is about the implementation of a Selenium project. I think you guys have understood how to automate a web application using Selenium. Now let's move on to our next topic. What is Maven? Maven is an Yiddish word which means accumulator of knowledge. It is a build automation tool used primarily for Java projects. It addresses the two aspects of building software. First, it describes how the software is built, and second, it describes its dependencies. Maven can dynamically download the Java libraries and Maven plugins from one or more repositories and store them in a local cache. It can also be used to build and manage projects like C#, Ruby, Scala, and other languages. It also offers simple project setup that follows the best practices. Maven has the ability to work with multiple projects at the same time. So this is about the introduction to Maven. Now let's understand the structure of Maven. So the main advantage of having this structure is it is analogous to adopting a site-wide look and feel. So the top level, the file descriptors of the projects are present in the pom.xml file. In addition, there are textual documents meant for the user to be able to read immediately on receiving the source, that is readme.txt file and license.txt file, and so on. So there are just two basic subdirectories of the structure, the source and the target. So the other directories that would be expected here are the metadatas like the CVS, Git file, and so on. So the target directory is used to house all the output of the build, whereas the source directory contains all the source material for building the project, its site, and so on. It contains a subdirectory for each type, main for the main build artifact, test for the test unit code, and resources, site, and so on. Within the artifact producing the source directory, there is one directory for the language, that is Java, and the other one for resources. If there are other contributing sources to the artifact build, they would be under other subdirectories. So this is about the structure of the Maven project. Now let's take a look at their use case. Maven dependencies are easily available. You don't have to pay for any of the dependencies that are available, okay? So this makes the build process easy by providing a lot of shielding from the details, and it also provides the uniform build system by allowing the project to build using its project object model. And it also provides quality project information about the cross-referenced libraries and the list of other project dependency list. So this is about the use case of Maven. Now let's try to understand what is Selenium Maven. I'm sure you guys have understood what is Selenium. So I'll just walk you through this again. Selenium is an automation tool used to test web applications, and it uses the dependencies of Maven and TestNG to run the test cases. And the Maven dependencies can be run across different platforms like Chrome, Opera, and so on. And all these dependencies are added to a file called pom.xml. Okay, that is the project object model file. It is in the XML form. So all the dependencies are stored into this file. And once this is done, we are going to integrate it with the Selenium project. That is, the dependencies are added to the Selenium project. So this is how the Selenium Maven works. Now let's take a look at their advantages. Selenium is an automation tool where Maven is a build automation tool. Both of them combined together will make the build very powerful, and it is easy to execute tasks very faster. Maven allows to build projects using the project object model, and it also helps in maintaining records, whereas Selenium cannot maintain records on its own. This Selenium Maven helps in reducing the duplication of code. Say the command exists for more than once in a program. So these kind of duplications can be reduced using Selenium Maven. And it also provides guidelines for better project management practices. So these are the advantages of Selenium Maven. Now let's take a look at the use case of Selenium Maven. So let's try to test a web page called New Tours where we'll try booking a flight and get a confirmation. So let's get back to our Eclipse IDE. I've already written the code for this project here because it's a little too lengthy, and I hope you guys can understand this clearly. So I've already created the project by the name Edureka Selenium project. I'll just click on the drop down here. You can find the structure of Maven here. The first one is the source main Java, source test Java, the library functions, the Maven dependencies, the TestNG dependencies, the screenshots. So I'll tell you about the screenshot folder during the end of the project, and the source folder, target field, and the pom.xml file which holds all the dependencies. So let's understand what are these fields. What is source main Java? Source main Java holds the root level packages. It holds the main function as well as the Java programs associated with the source file and source test Java. This folder holds the test cases of the process. It holds packages that help in simplifying the projects under test. This is the Java libraries, and talking about the Maven dependencies, this field holds the dependencies of the packages that are required to run a specific test case. So this is about the Maven dependencies. And talking about the source and the target field, these folders hold the source and the target details of the project. The source field holds the main function of the package, whereas the target field holds the Maven compilation details and the test reports. Now coming to pom.xml, pom.xml holds the Maven dependencies of a particular package. So now let's take a look at the drop down of each of these. Let's start with the first folder, source main Java. Okay, let me widen this so that you can clearly see the name of the packages. So there are three packages here, namely core.edureka.framework packages, test packages, and UI packages. So like I mentioned, packages hold the group of classes. So let's take a look at the classes under the first package. Click on the drop down. You can find two classes by the name Browser Factory and Capture Screenshot. Go to the next one, that is test packages. It also holds two classes, namely helper class and test case class. And coming to the last package, this holds the entire process of booking a flight. I'm sorry guys, it's not in a proper order, it is in the alphabetical order. But the first one should be the login page, where you would first log into the web page and then find the flight according to the specifications provided, and then select a flight and book a flight and get a flight confirmation. So this is a process that takes place in this UI package. Now let's take a look at the source test Java folder. This basically holds a single package, and I've named it as a certification project. And it has a class called app test, that is the application test class. Okay, so this is about the source test Java folder. Now talking about the source and target field. Source field, like I mentioned earlier, has two fields, namely main and test. Okay, so let's click on the drop down here. It says Java Co Edureka, that is the name of the package. And these are the frameworks that exist. Now let's take a look at the test. Java certification project and the basic application test that is present. So this is about the source field. So the target field holds the compilation results and holds the reports of execution. Okay, so this is about it. So this is about the structure of Selenium Maven. Now let's take a look at the first program here, that is the Browser Factory. So first, let's take a look at the first program here, which is the Browser Factory program, where we specify the browser driver under which we are going to work. Okay, so I've already written the piece of code here. So you can see that the name of the package is here. It is under the framework package. And I'm going to create a class called Browser Factory, where I'm going to create a static keyword WebDriver and create an object of the WebDriver, that is the driver. After that, we are going to call this Browser Factory function here. Okay, this is basically a constructor. And after this, we are going to get to the main part of this program, where we'll call the function called getDriver, which helps in getting the browser driver details. So under this, we are going to write the condition if the driver, that is the object of the WebDriver, is null. So under this, I'm going to instantiate the Chrome driver options to the new Chrome options. So to do that, I'm going to write Chrome options and create an object of the Chrome options, say options, and instantiate it to the new Chrome options. Okay. So after this, say if you don't want to be disturbed or interrupted during the execution of the program, so we are going to write a few commands here which will help in making the process easy. So we're going to consider the object of the Chrome options, and we'll add the arguments saying disable the notifications. That is, you don't want any notifications during the execution of the program. After this, I'm going to set the page load strategy to none. That is, you don't want the page to load while executing. So to do that, I'm going to consider the object of the Chrome options.set page load strategy, and the page load strategy is none. Okay. So once you're done with this, the same process continues here. That is, we are going to set the system property to the name of the browser driver, that is in our case the Chrome driver, and specify the path in which it is located. So in my case, it is in the C drive here. So I'm going to write the path here, and then I'm going to instantiate the WebDriver object to the new Chrome driver objects. Okay, so I'm going to consider the object of the WebDriver driver and instantiate it with the new Chrome driver options. Options is an instance of the Chrome options. After this, now if you want to maximize the screen of the web page, so you can do that using the same command that we used before, that is driver.manage.window.maximize. So this helps in maximizing the window. And then say if you don't want any unwanted cookies during the execution of the program. So we'll delete all the unwanted cookies using this command, that is driver.manage.delete all cookies. Okay, so once you're done with this, let's try to add the implicit wait here. That is, you want the Chrome driver to wait for a few seconds before loading. You might ask, why do we need implicit wait? Because that is, when you load the Chrome page, you won't see the basic Chrome page there. That is the default Chrome driver page. So in order to view the Chrome page, we are going to add the implicit wait command here. Okay, so driver.manage.timeouts, and we'll add the implicit wait for 45 seconds, and the unit of time is in seconds. Okay, I think you guys have understood what this means. After this, we'll add the page load timeout. That is, it sets a limit under which the page should load. To do that, I'm going to use this command, that is driver.manage.timeouts, and specify the page load timeout for 45 seconds, and the unit of time is in seconds. Hope you guys are clear with this. So after this, now say if the driver is not equal to null, it will return the driver functions. Okay, so this is about setting a path to the Chrome driver, guys. Now let's take a look at the other browser drivers. So I'm going to call the get driver here by passing a command called browser name under string. Okay, so we're going to consider the same if condition here if the driver value is null. So we are going to consider another condition here which will compare the two strings and ignores the cases. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to write if the browser name equals ignore case Firefox. If the browser name is Firefox, I'm going to set the property to the Firefox driver. That is system.setProperty, and specify the name of the web driver, that is Gecko driver, and then specify the path. So after this, I'm going to instantiate the web driver to the new Firefox driver, and the rest of the process are the same. That is, we are going to maximize the screen, delete all the unwanted cookies, add the implicit wait in order to view the Firefox web page, and add the page load timeout. Now, else, if the browser name is Chrome, say if you want to use Chrome now, the same procedure follows here, just that the property changes. That is, the name of the browser driver and the path changes along with the instantiation of the browser driver. Okay, so this is about the Chrome driver. Now, if you want to use the Internet Explorer, you can do it using these commands. So this is about the browser driver, guys. So before proceeding further with the capture screenshot and the test packages, let's take a look at the UI package where we can book a flight. Let's start with the login page. So as you can see that the login page is under the package co.edureka.ui packages, under which I'm going to create a class called login page and create an object of the web driver. Think you guys have understood what this is? And after this, I'm going to pass the argument to the login page class, that is the object of the web driver, and specify the instance of the web driver. That is, this driver is equal to driver. Okay. So after this is done, we are going to use the annotations in order to find the element in the web page. Maven uses the annotation method in order to find an element on a web page. So in this case, we are going to use two annotations, namely find by and cache lookup. So these are the annotations that we are going to use. Now let's understand what is find by annotation. Find by is an annotation used in page object in Selenium test to specify the object location strategy for a web element, whereas the cache lookup is a method where some records will be loaded into the memory at startup or when loading the first time. So let me tell you how this works. So the cache lookup specifies the web element or defines the web element, and this particular web element can be found on the web page using the find by annotation. I think it's clear, guys. The Maven helps in finding the location of the web element by find by annotation, and it is going to use the Selenium element locator to specify the path or the location of the web element. So in this case, it is the name. That is, the name is specified of the web element, and this is the location. Okay, I think you guys have understood this. So the same goes with the password and login as well. The cache lookup helps in defining the web element and passing the object to the web element. Using this, Maven is going to find the element using the element locators in Selenium and find the path or the location of the web element to be searched. Okay, this is the same with the login also. Now we'll create a class called login WordPress and pass these attributes, that is string use and string pass, to the function. Okay, so we are going to use the try catch method here to reduce the exceptions that occur during the execution. So under this, I'm going to specify the username and send keys to the username, that is use. Okay. And we are going to use the sleep command here in order to pause the execution for 3 seconds. And after this, I'm going to consider the password and send keys to the password, that is pass. And once this is done, we'll again pause the execution for 3 seconds and click on the login. Okay, I think this is clear to you guys how to log into a web page. And then we'll catch the exceptions that occur during the execution of this process. And this command helps in pointing the exceptions or errors that occur during the execution and prints the number of the line in which the error exists. So this is about the login page. Now let's take a look at the flight finder page. So this page basically helps in finding the flight in the web application. So even this program comes under the package UI package, and we are going to create a class called Flight Finder Page, under which I'm going to declare the WebDriver and create an object of the WebDriver. And I'm going to pass the argument to this function Flight Finder Page, that is the object of the WebDriver, which holds the instance of the driver. And we are going to follow the same procedure here. That is, we are going to use the cache lookup method to specify the web element and create an object of the same. And this particular web element is found using the element locators of Selenium. And in this case, it is the XPath. XPath is an element locator in Selenium, which is used to navigate through the elements and attributes in an XML document. So we are going to search the element using the XPath and specify the XML location of this web element. So you can see that the web element is round trip first, which specifies the type of trip which you want to go on, and it is a one-way trip, the next one, and pass the count, that is the number of passengers count. From port specifies the departure port. From month specifies the month from which you want to start your traveling, and from day specifies the day from which you want to start. To port specifies the arrival port, and 2 months specifies the month in which you want to end this trip, and 2 days specifies the day in which you want to end the trip, and airline specifies the name of the airline that you want to board into, and find flights, which help in finding the flight according to your specifications. Okay. Now after this, if you want to set the class of the flight that you want to board into, say it is a service class, a business class, or an economy class. Now I'm going to consider this web element called service class, and I'm going to provide the location of the business class. So I'm going to select the business class flight. And after this, I'm going to create a function called continue WordPress, under which I'm going to pass these many attributes. That is the P count, from port, F month, F day, and so on. So to start the process, I'm going to use the try catch method, which helps in reducing the errors or exceptions occurring during the execution. First, I'm going to pause the execution for say 2 seconds, and then we'll pause the execution for 2 seconds, and then we'll pass the count of the passengers, and we'll send the keys to the pass count saying P count. And we'll pause the execution for 2 seconds, and from port, we are going to send keys to this from port function F port. So we'll understand what is this P count and F port in the test case class, which is the last main class of this project. So till then, just bear with this. And we are going to pause the execution for 2 seconds after this. And from month, we are going to send keys called F month to this. And again, pause the execution. Same goes to the F day, that is from day as well. And to port, to month, to date, that is the arrival date. Then the service class flight, which specifies the business class flight that I want to select, and the airline. And we'll click on the find flight. And after this, we'll pause the execution for 2 seconds. And we'll catch the exceptions that occur during the process using the catch, where we are going to print the line in which the error occurs during this command. Okay. So this is about the flight finder page, guys. Now let's try to select the flight. Even this program comes under the package, the UI package, under which I'm going to create a class select flight page, and I'm going to declare the WebDriver and create an object of the same. And I'm going to pass the attribute to the select flight page, that is the WebDriver driver, under which I'm going to specify the instance of the driver. So the same procedure continues here, guys. That is, we are going to use the cache lookup to define the web element and find it using the find by annotation and the Selenium element locators, and specify the path or the location in which the element is present. So we are going to search for the Blue Skies Airlines and the Blue Skies Airlines 361, Pangaea Airlines, Unified Airlines, Blue Skies Airlines. This is for return ticket, guys. There are two tickets basically because we've selected the round trip. We need to book tickets for both the sites, that is the departing tickets and the return tickets. So we are going to specify both these using the particular tagline here, that is _D is for departing and T is for return. Okay. So I'm going to search for the Blue Skies Airlines 361_D and specify the path and search it using the XPath, which is an element locator in Selenium, and specify the path or the location of the element. So this is carried out for Pangaea Airlines as well and the Unified Airlines as well. And after this, we are going to click on the continue button to continue the process. Okay, so the XPath of this is also specified here. Okay, so this is about the find by and cache lookup annotations. Let's create a function called depart airlines WordPress and pass the string function here, that is depart airline. And again, we are going to use the try catch method to reduce the errors and exceptions occurring during the execution of the process. Under this, I'm going to write a condition. If the depart airlines equals ignores case, the Blue Skies Airlines 360. That is by comparing both these strings and ignoring the cases, that is even if it is an uppercase or lowercase, ignoring the cases, we are going to click this particular airline, that is Blue Skies Airline 360_D. So you're going to click this particular airline and pause the execution for 2 seconds. And the same goes with the other airlines as well. We'll compare the name of the depart airline with the other airline that we are going to provide. Compare these two, ignoring their cases, and click on the Blue Skies Airline 361_D for departing. Okay. The same goes with the Pangaea Airlines and the Unified Airlines as well. And after this, the catch is executed where the errors are pointed out and printed using this command. Okay, so we're done with the depart airlines part. So now let's come to the return airlines. We are going to create a function called return airlines WordPress and pass the string return airline. Okay, so under this, we are going to use the same try catch method to reduce errors and consider the condition. If the return airlines equals ignore case, the name of the flight specified by the user, and click the name of the return flight. And we'll pause the execution for 2 seconds and then we'll move on to the next name that exists, that is the Blue Skies Airlines 361. So this name is compared with the return airline name that we provide, ignoring the cases. If these two texts match, we are going to click the Blue Skies Airlines 361_T, which is a return ticket. And we'll again pause the execution for 2 seconds and then move on. The same goes with the Pangaea Airlines and the Unified Airlines as well. And we'll catch the exceptions that occur during the execution using this command. And after this, we need to click the continue button that is present. So we'll create a function called continue, and we are going to consider the object of the web element con.click, and we'll pause the execution for 2 seconds and catch the exceptions that occur during this execution. So this is about selecting a flight, guys. Now let's take a look at booking a flight. So even this program comes under the UI packages, where I'm going to create a class called book flight page, under which I'm going to declare the WebDriver and create an object of the same. And after this, I'm going to consider the book flight page class and pass the argument WebDriver and the object of the WebDriver driver, under which the instance of the WebDriver is present. Okay, so we are going to use the same annotations here, that is the find by and the cache lookup, where the cache lookup helps in specifying or defining the web element, and it is found using the element locators in Selenium and the find by annotations. So the web element I'm going to specify is the first name, which can be found using the element locators in Selenium, that is name and the path or the location of this first name. Okay, so this is the location of the first name. Next, we'll find the last name in the page. So the last name can be found using the name, which is an element located in Selenium, and using the location of the last name, that is past last 0. Okay, so the same goes with the meal as well. Meal specifies which type of meal does he want to eat and gets the location of the card type, the card number, the expiring month of the card, the year specified, and the name according to the card, that is the first name, middle name, and the last name. And then we are going to click on purchase because we need to purchase the tickets, right? Okay, so to do that, I'm going to click on purchase. This particular web element can be found using the X path. So this is the location in which the purchase web element exists. And after this, I'm going to create a function called purchase press, under which I'm going to pass these particular attributes: F name, L name, meal, card type, and so on. And after this, I'm going to use the try catch method to reduce the errors. First, I'm going to pause the execution for 2 seconds, and then we'll send keys to the first name, that is F name, the name that we are going to specify, and then pause the execution for 2 seconds and pass the last name, and then meal, what type of meal I want to eat, card type, is it a MasterCard or a Visa card, or so on, the card number, the expiring month of the card, the expiring year of the card, the first name according to the card, the middle name, and the last name. And then we'll finally click on the purchase button. And after this, we are going to catch the exceptions that occurred during the execution using this command. Okay, so we're done with booking a flight. Now let's take a look at the flight confirmation. This page basically helps in logging out of a web application. Even this program comes under the package UI packages, under which I'm going to create a class called flight confirmation page, where I'm going to declare the WebDriver and create an object of the same, and I'm going to call the same flight confirmation page and pass the argument WebDriver driver, under which the instance of the WebDriver is specified, and we are going to find the location of the logout web element. And after this, we are going to search for the web element logout in the web page, and we are going to search the element using the XPath, and this is the location of the logout. And then I'm going to call a logout press function, under which I'm going to click on the button logout. This helps in logging out of the web page. So this is about the UI package, guys. Now let's take a look at the helper class here. So this program is under the test package, and we are going to create a class called the helper class, under which we are going to declare the WebDriver and create an object of the WebDriver. And we are going to call the browser factory function here and create an object of that class, say browser factory, and name the object as object1. And after that, we are going to call the helper class function here, that is basically a constructor. And what is before suit? Have you guys ever heard of this? Before suit is an annotated method which will run before all the tests in the suit is run. So we are going to create a function of this before suit, and we are going to call a constructor. And after this, we are going to call the before class here. So what is before class? Before class is an annotated method used to set up Chrome properties, initialize the driver, and so on. So under this before class, I'm going to create a function called before class and print this particular text. Okay, so this prints before the execution of the process. And after this, I'm going to call the before method annotation. Before method checks for the database connection before executing the test scripts. Under this, I'm going to create a class called before method class, and I'm going to print in before method. That is, this text will be printed before the execution of the program. And I'm going to link the helper class to the WebDriver object, that is the driver, and we'll call the browser factory function, that is browser factory.getDriver and Chrome. Because we are going to work on Chrome, we are going to specify this using the browser factory program. Okay, after this, we have after method. After method is used to close the database connection. Okay, so we are going to call close here. This closes the driver connection. And after that, we are going to execute the after class. Where after class helps in stopping the driver execution. Okay, in this, I'm going to create a class called object class and create a constructor of the same. And after that, I'm going to call after suit. After suit is a method which will run after all the tests in the suit have run. Under this, I'm going to call the after suit function, under which I'm going to end the driver execution using driver.quit command. Okay, so this is how the helper class works. Now let's take a look at the capture screenshot class. You guys will understand what exactly is this screenshot field present here. Okay, let's take a look at this program. So this program comes under the package framework package, and we are going to create a class called capture screenshot. under which I'm going to call the constructor of the same name, that is capture screenshot, and we'll call the function get screenshot and pass these attributes, that is the WebDriver and the string function, where I'm going to specify the path of the file and the object of the driver. Okay, so under this, I'm going to use the try catch method to reduce the errors, and I'm printing this particular text in get screenshot method. So once this is printed, I'm going to take this function called take screenshot and create an object called TS. So I'm going to consider the function take screenshot and specify the object name, that is TS, which will be linked to the WebDriver object, that is driver. Take screenshot linked to the driver. Okay. And after this, I'm going to print this particular text, that is before get screenshot as. So we need to save these screenshots in the file. So to do that, I'm going to take file source, the source file, and take the object of the take screenshot and consider the function get screenshot as and specify the output type as file. Okay, I think you guys have understood this. And after this, I'm going to print another text after get screenshot as. We'll create a new folder for this. So we are going to copy the file from the source and send it to the new file and specify the file path. Okay. So these are the functions that takes place in this particular program. And after this, we are going to catch the exceptions or error that occurred during the execution using the catch command. Okay. And after this, we are going to specify the date. That is, we need to specify the date in which this particular screenshot was taken. So to do that, I'm going to call this particular function string getDate timestamp, under which I'm going to specify the date and create an object of the string type, that is sDate part, and sDate stamp, which holds the string command. And now we are going to instantiate the date. That is, the object of the date command is equal to new date. Okay, this specifies the current date. And after this, I'm going to print odate.toString. Now, what is a toString? ToString is automatically called when the date is represented as a text value. So I'm going to print this in the form of this. And after that, I'm going to split this particular date into date, month, and year. So to do that, I'm going to consider the date part, which is in the form of array string, and specify the current date and split. Okay. So the date stamp, which is of the form string, holds the date in the form of date, month, and year. Okay, so the date part specifies the array string, which holds the array and the string functions, which specifies the position in which the element is present. Say in the fifth element, you want the year to be present. So it specifies the year in the fifth position, specifies the date in the first position, month, and the time. Okay. So these can be done using the date part, which is of the form string array. And these are separated using underscore. Okay. So all of these are separated or split using the underscore operator rather than the colon. So this is the command to replace the colon with the underscore. That is sDate stamp is equal to the sDate stamp and replace the colon with the underscore. And after this, we'll print the sDate stamp, which is of the form string. And after that, we'll return the date stamp value. So this is about capturing the screenshot on the web page, guys. Now let's take a look at the master class of this project. That is the test case class. This is a program under the test packages where I'm going to create a class called test case class, which extends the helper class. By extends, I mean it inherits some properties from the helper class. And I'm going to create a constructor of the same class, that is the test case class, and call the annotation at test. What do you mean by at test? The test annotation tells the JUnit that the public void method which is attached can be run as a test case. Okay, so this is the function of the annotation test. And after this, I'm going to create a function called return ticket, and I'm going to again consider the try catch method to reduce the errors and exceptions. So in this, I'm going to first print the text in return ticket. After this, we are going to try to get the URL of the web page that we want to search for, that is driver.getURL, the same as we used in Selenium. Okay, so this is the URL of the web page that we're going to search. we need to log into a page after we get the URL of the web page. So to do that, I'm going to create an object of the login page and name it login page, under which I'm going to initialize the driver and the login page classes. I think you guys remember what we did in the login page class. Okay, so I'm going to call the function of login page in this particular program. That's the reason why I said it is a master class of this entire project. And after this, I'm going to pass the commands here, and I'm going to consider the function of the login page, that is the login WordPress, and pass the name and the password. Okay, so this is the name and that is the password. So this is the name and the password used to log into a web page. And after that, we need to find a flight according to our specifications. So to do that, I'm going to consider the object of the flight finder and name it the flight finder page, and initialize the page factory to the driver and the finder page class. Okay, let me zoom out first. Hope you guys find it easy now. And once you're done initializing the driver and the finder page class, we are going to send values to the flight finder page classes. That is the object of the flight finder page and the class of the flight finder page, that is the continue WordPress, where the number of passengers are present, that is I'm going to specify it as 1. From port is Zurich, and from month is July. From date is 12, and the to port is Frankfurt. To month is September, and to day is 15, and the class is also specified, which is a business class flight, and the name of the airlines is also present. I'm going to send in the airline's name as the Unified Airlines. So once you're done sending values to the flight finder page, let's select the flight. Okay, so I'm going to create an object of the select flight page and name it select flight page, and initialize the driver and the select flight page classes. So in this case, we need to send values to both depart airlines as well as the return airlines. So I'm going to call the function of the select flight page, that is the depart airlines WordPress, and provide a name Pangaea Airlines 362. So this is the airline that I want to choose for departing airlines. And for the return airlines, I would consider the function of the select flight page, that is the return airlines WordPress, and provide this a name Unified Airlines 363. And then we'll click on continue button. Okay, so with this we end the select flight page, and after that we need to book a flight. So to do that, I'm going to create an object of the book flight page and name it book flight page, where I'm going to initialize the driver and the book flight page classes. And we need to send in details to this particular function purchase press, where we specify the first name, the last name, the meal, the card type, that is the MasterCard or not. I'm going to specify it as a MasterCard, the card number, the expiring month, and then the name according to the card, that is the first name, middle name, and the last name. So with this, we are done booking a flight. Now we need a flight confirmation. So to do that, we are going to consider the object of the flight confirmation page and name it flight confirmation page, where we are going to initialize the driver and the flight confirmation page classes. And after this, we need to get the screenshot of the flight confirmation. So to do that, I'm going to use the function of the capture screenshot page, that is booking details file, where I'm going to set the system property to the user directory and specify the location in which the screenshot should be saved. So I'm going to write screenshots followed by flight confirmation details, where it needs to capture the screenshot and get the date timestamp. Okay, and it should be in the form of a PNG file, that is an image file. Okay, so this is how you get the screenshot. And after this, we are going to execute this piece of code using the try catch method again in order to reduce the errors. So I'm going to consider the capture screenshot class here, and also the function get screenshot, where I'm going to add in these attributes here, that is browser factory.getDriver, which helps in specifying the browser details, and booking details file, which helps in capturing the screenshot. Okay, and after this, we are going to execute the catch command where the exceptions are printed. So the logout press is a function of the flight confirmation page, and we are going to call it using the object of the flight confirmation page, that is the flight confirmation page dot logout press. This helps in logging out of the execution process. So this is all about the programs that we require to run the test scripts. Now let's try to run this program. Okay, so it is in the form of the txt file. So just right click on txt and run as the txt suite. Okay, so like I mentioned before class, before method is being printed, you can see that the Chrome is initialized, maximizes the screen, username and password is being provided, and it also specifies the date and it signs in. Okay, this is a flight finder page. Selects the round trip. The number of passengers is 1. Departing from Zurich on July 12th, arriving in Frankfurt, returning on September 15th. Okay, and the service class will be the business class, and airlines is the unified airlines that we specified, and clicks on continue. And this selects the Pangaea Airlines and the Blue Sky Airlines. Okay. So this is the passenger details. First name, last name, the meal preference is vegetarian, the card type is MasterCard, and the number of the card, the expiration 12th 2000 Anirudh, that is the name according to the card, middle name and the last name. So this is the flight confirmation page and it logs out. Now let's refresh this page, okay, and take a look at the screenshots here. So you can see the format here, which is of the form year, month, date, specifies the time, and the PNG, which is of the form of an image. So let's click on one of them. Okay, so you can see that the screenshot is being captured here. So that's it about Selenium Maven with Eclipse, guys. If you want to learn more about Selenium WebDriver, don't forget to take a look at the Edureka's YouTube channel and check out the Selenium playlist. Thank you for watching this video. Happy learning!